Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to do a Q&A because I haven't done one in a while and Freya is 9 months old now, so I feel like it is the right time to do another Q&A. I asked for questions over on Instagram a while ago and I got nearly 40 questions, but I've managed to narrow it down to 30. A lot of you actually asked the same questions, just worded differently. So I got questions about my mental health, returning to work, Freya going to nursery, when we're going to move to a 2-bedroom house, when we're going to have another baby. But as I said, I've managed to group all the questions together and cut them down to 30. I think this is going to be a long Q&A. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this a part 1 and then I will do a part 2 as well. Freya is actually napping, so I've probably got about an hour until she wakes up. So let's go. Question number 1 is, what is Freya's daily routine, or will you do a day in the life of Freya video? I would love to do a day in the life of Freya video, but I'm not going to because I talk way too much. And instead of just showing you what I'm doing and then doing a little voiceover explaining, I will have to tell you what I'm about to do before I show you it because I cannot help myself. I am incapable of not talking. So I am not going to put the pressure on myself to try and do that video. It will be way too long. Then I'll spend days editing it. And then by the time it's up, I probably won't even be happy with it anyway. So I'm not even going to attempt it. But Freya's daily routine is that she wakes up at 6:30 in the morning. She'll chill in her cot for like 5 minutes while I'm doing bits and bobs. I have done a morning routine video on my channel, so I will link that in the description box below if you want to watch that. When all of my bits and bobs are done, I will then get Freya out of her cot. I'll change her nappy so she's got a clean nappy on, moisturise her with the Child's Farm moisturiser. I've been doing that since she was born. And then I will get her dressed for the day and brush her hair. After that, she will have her first bottle of the day, which is 5 ounces. We don't offer her any more because she never drinks any more than 5 ounces in the morning. This is at like 6:50 a.m, 7 a.m. latest. Once the bottle is done, she comes into the living room and I'm doing toy rotation with her. I've been doing it for a while. I change her toys every day. So there's tubs in the storage cupboard in the hallway and they're labelled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Today is Wednesday, so this morning I got Wednesday's tub out and I emptied the contents onto her playmat in the corner of the living room, and that's where she plays. She'll play independently whilst I am doing things like sterilising her bottles, cleaning the dog's breakfast bowl. She always has breakfast an hour after her bottle. So if she had her bottle at 7 o'clock in the morning, then she's having breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning. She'll have Weetabix with cow's milk, or she will have Kendamil porridge, apple and blackcurrant, or she'll have Kendamil porridge banana. She doesn't like banana on its own, but she does like banana flavoured stuff. I rotate what breakfast she's having each day. We do want to move away from Kendamil and actually onto normal porridge, so we're going to use up the rest of the Kendamil porridge first. After breakfast, she'll then play a little more with her toys and I will play with her. We'll do some bubbles, we'll do some kind of learning activity like flashcards. I don't do this every day, so please do not think I'm doing this every day. Sometimes after breakfast she is just playing and I'm singing nursery rhymes with her or something. She has her first nap of the day at 9:30 in the morning for an hour to an hour and a half, but usually only an hour. She has lunch at like 11 a.m. and the reason it's so early is because that is actually the time she will be having it at nursery. So we want to try and keep her routine at home the same as when she's going to be in nursery. The latest she would ever have lunch is at 12 o'clock. After her lunch, we will do some kind of sensory play. At the moment, it tends to be in her sensory tub. It might be water, and then I might put colourful pom-poms in, or I might put the balls from her ball pit in. Sometimes I put Rice Krispies in there, but she's not really a fan of Rice Krispie play. She kind of goes and sprinkles it all over the floor. But I have got sensory play activity cards. I'm giving her her second bottle of the day at like 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon. It's a 7-ounce bottle. She usually drinks at least 6 ounces, sometimes the whole 7 ounces. She'll then go down for a sleep straight after that. So that's her second nap of the day. That nap is usually an hour to an hour and a half as well. And when she wakes up, which is before 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we normally play for a little bit longer and then I might be like, okay, what's the weather like? Could I take her to the park? Could we go for a little walk? Could we pop to the local harvester and see my best friend, because it's like 5 minutes around the corner and my best friend works there. If the weather's rubbish, then we just stay inside. James usually gets home from work at about 5 o'clock, 5:30. We have dinner straight away because as soon as dinner is finished, she has her third nap of the day, which is probably more like the time that she should be going to bed, but we wake her up at 8 for a final bottle. So it's actually a nap between like 6:30 to 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then we wake her up. So it's like another hour to an hour and a half nap basically. And then we wake her up at 8 o'clock. She has one more bottle, so her third bottle of the day. And then she's in her sleep suit, nappy change, she's in her sleeping bag, brush her teeth, she's in bed. So long story short, she's having 3 bottles a day, 3 meals a day, 3 naps a day, 3 everything. Also, she sleeps from like 8:30 all the way through to 6:30 in the morning. Questions 2, 3 and 4 are all about Freya's sleep. What is Freya's sleep schedule like and how did you get her to nap/sleep at specific times? Have you always put Freya in her cot for naps or did she go into it after a certain time? Did Freya go through a sleep regression and how did you cope? Freya's sleep is that she has one nap in the morning at like 9:30 for an hour to an hour and a half, but usually only an hour in the morning. In the afternoon, she'll have another nap at like 2:30. That's also an hour to an hour and a half, but more likely the hour and a half. She then has another nap after dinner around 6:30 to 7:30. And then she will have her final bottle at 8 and go down for bed for the night at like 8:30. And sleeps all the way through to 6:30 in the morning. We never got her to nap or sleep at specific times. We've always gone with what she wants to do and if she's tired or not. We've never tried to do any sleep training. We haven't always put Freya in her cot. We never had a next to me crib or a Moses basket. We just had a space saver cot. And as soon as she was home from the hospital, she had her very first nap in that cot. She slept in her cot for, oh my goodness, it feels like forever ago. So I know I would have said it in an update video. I want to say she slept in her cot for a couple of weeks, but I don't even know if it was a couple of weeks. For the life of me, I cannot remember. All I know is that she slept in her cot as soon as we got home from the hospital for a very, very short period of time, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden she would refuse to sleep in her cot. This was before she was even a month old. She was sleeping in our bed with us for 2 weeks straight. We then tried to get her to sleep in the cot again, and she would only sleep in the cot when she was rocked. She needed some kind of movement, and that went on for a while as well. As for a sleep regression, Freya is 9 months old now, and I genuinely do not think Freya has ever had a sleep regression. Obviously, there were these times where she would not sleep in the cot, but she would sleep, just not in the cot. So no, I don't think she ever had a sleep regression. Question 5 is, would love your advice on weaning. I am paediatric first aid trained, so I have never been concerned about Freya choking whatsoever. Obviously, she has gagged either because of the feeling of the texture of the food and because she's trying to learn how much food she can have in her mouth and move around her mouth. It's normal for babies to gag. It doesn't mean that they're actually choking. Has she choked a couple of times? Yes, but not in the sense of that she needed first aid. She choked but was able to gag and cough it up herself. It's when they can't cough, you will know when your baby is genuinely choking and actually needs your help. And Freya, at 9 months old, has never ever needed us to intervene. The thing that I struggled with was there was always this information that they needed to have fruit and vegetables first. And even though me and James like fruit and vegetables, we're not massively healthy people, so we never would really buy fruit. And we would never have vegetables with our food. Again, not because we don't like fruit and veg, because we do like fruit and veg, we're just not very healthy, so we just don't buy it. So we were having to go out of our way to make sure we were trying to buy all this fruit and buy all this veg, blend it all up. And then when it actually came to being like, right, we need to do some broccoli tonight, it was like effort to do it. And I think that that's the issue with weaning. If you're trying to do something that's not already a part of your food routine or your lifestyle, you're actually just making it harder on yourself. I also bought a book called How to Wean Your Baby, but it was so like vegetable focused I was just like, this isn't me, this isn't us and how we cook and how we eat. I also cannot cook. I can cook a spaghetti bolognese, I can cook a lasagna, I can't cook chicken. I can't cook sausages. I've only just learned how to do scrambled eggs from James. James is the better cook, not me. So when it comes to things like sausage casserole and stews, he's the one that does that. I can't do that. So I found weaning very stressful, but only because I felt like I had to do everything by the book. It was just like, oh my goodness, you don't have to literally follow the book to a T. Do what works for your family, your lifestyle, and you will find a way to make it work. Even now, Freya's lunches are like picky lunches. She has a sandwich with jam in it, or Philadelphia, or peanut butter. She has a packet of skips. She absolutely loves skips because they melt on the tongue. They're easy for her to eat. She won't have a whole packet. She'll have half a packet. She will have fruit, but it will either be banana, which I've already said in this video she doesn't even like, but I still try to attempt it. Or she has had kiwi. She likes kiwi. Pineapple that just already came in a packet, like pineapple fingers or chunks. Sometimes I actually give her the fruit purees by Ella's Kitchen, and I already had my health visitor go, oh, Ella's Kitchen, get a grip. I've literally looked at the back of it and it's just fruit and water. Why is there such a big deal about Ella's Kitchen, for goodness sakes? And the melty sticks as well. Sometimes she has them as a snack. But for Ella's Kitchen, she might have a fruit puree. That's all she will have now as like part of her lunch. And I don't do that every day. And the Ella's Kitchen melty sticks, sometimes I give them to her as a snack. But again, that's not every day either. And for dinners, she just has what we're having blended up. We don't go out of our way to make something specific for her. If we're having bolognese like we did last night, we blend it up. And with the spaghetti, we just chop it with scissors. If we're having sausage casserole, we just blend it up. I think my advice for weaning would be, if you're really worried about choking, just go and do a paediatric first aid course. And my other bit of advice for weaning would be, don't focus on trying to do everything by the book. Do what works for you and your family. I mean, James said to me the other day, when he was little, he didn't even like vegetables. Now he'll eat them. He also, when he was little, didn't like cheese. He would not touch it. Now he likes cheese. Just because your child might not like a certain fruit or a certain vegetable, and maybe you're not introducing them all, because we're not going to introduce them all to Freya because we just generally wouldn't eat them all, it doesn't mean that when they're older they're not going to eat fruit and vegetables. I don't eat courgette. Why am I going to go out of my way and buy a courgette? Like, don't go out of your way to buy things that you would never normally even eat just because you think your child needs to have them. Unless it's an allergen, honestly, don't stress about it. Like, there's too much pressure when it comes to weaning. Questions 6 and 7 are kind of similar. Question 6 is, what advice would you give to a new mum? And I wrote these down because I had to really think about them. My first bit of advice would be, don't get so much stuff before you know what your baby likes. We bought a Love to Dream swaddle, for example, which was like 30 quid. It was supposed to be the best thing ever. She didn't like it. We put her in it, she cried. She hated it. All she ended up having was this swaddle on Amazon that was like a tenner or something. I think going along with that as well, people kept saying to us, don't buy so much newborn clothes because babies grow out of newborn so fast. We were told all throughout pregnancy that we were going to have a small baby, and she was born weighing 5 pounds 13 ounces, so she was a small baby. Because we listened to the advice of midwives, we made sure that we had enough clothes for newborn and 0 to 3 month clothes, because we knew that she was going to be small. She was in newborn clothes until 3 months, maybe even more than 3 months. My second bit of advice would be, soak up those first few months, the scrunchiness, any little quirks that they have. Freya had this little quirk where when she woke up, she would do a yawn, a stretch, and she'd go and do this little kissy pout face. She's grown out of that now. It was her like signature pout. Every time without fail that she woke up, it was so cute, but unfortunately she grew out of it. and all that scrunchiness that they do grown out of it. The number of people that said to us, they grow up so fast, the time goes so quickly. I think I wanted to pull my hair out of my scalp if I heard it one more time. But now I'm going to say it to you. I promise you, it really does go so fast. It feels like yesterday that we had a newborn with the scrunchiness and the little pout, and now we have a 9-month-old who's sitting up, rolling over, crawling. She's even standing up when she holds our hands or furniture. She's trying to take steps when she holds our hands. Honestly, she is less of a baby and more of a toddler now. And it actually makes me feel so sad. So when people say to you the time goes quickly, and you're like, I swear if one more person says that to me, I'm gonna lose my shit. Please believe them, because it really does go that fast. My third bit of advice is kind of similar, but chores will get done, but their childhood won't happen twice. In those first few months, I was always like, right, I need to hoover, I need to make sure the flat's clean all the time, I need to make sure the dishes are on top of, and that's just how I've been generally, even before pregnancy. I always have to have everything like perfect. I had a C-section, and literally the next day when I was discharged from hospital and I was home, I was hoovering, I was emptying the bins. Do not stress about the housework or any of the chores that need doing, because as I said, the dishes will get done, the hoovering will get done, but your baby's childhood is not going to happen twice. They're a baby once, and I feel like I blinked and she's a 9-month-old. My fourth bit of advice is don't focus on the development too much. Freya didn't like tummy time, and I remember stressing. I remember messaging my mum friend about how she didn't like tummy time, and I was so concerned. All of a sudden, next thing you know, she loves tummy time. Absolutely loves tummy time. And I'm like, why did I stress so much? Every time I thought, oh my goodness, she's not rolling over yet. All of a sudden, she's rolling over. Do not focus on the development and when they need to sit up and when they need to roll. They will do it in their own time. My fifth bit of advice would be to ask for help if you need it. So I don't know if you're new to my channel, if you're watching this video for the first time, like you've never seen any of my videos before, but when it got to like 4 months, up to like 7 months, between 4 and 7 months, my mental health deteriorated massively. And it was because whatever mental health I already had undiagnosed had been escalated. Postpartum had escalated it. I ended up going to my GP. I got referred to the perinatal mental health team. I had an assessment with a psychologist. I finally got a diagnosis. So I've been diagnosed with avoidant personality disorder and obsessive compulsive personality disorder. I've been waiting years and years for that. And it's taken for me to have a baby and to struggle with like emotional regulation to actually get that diagnosis. For that period of time, between 4 months old to 7 months old, I was like a completely different person. I didn't recognize myself anymore. I'd become such a nasty person behind closed doors, verbally towards James. I would shout, I would swear. I was really struggling with emotional regulation, and I was scared of myself. And I was scared that I was becoming like the person who abused me as a child. I felt like I was becoming the person that I never ever in a million years thought I would become. If you feel like you need help, even if it's not to do with emotional regulation, if it's sort of like postpartum depression, please ask for help. And as awful as this is going to sound, your baby is going to suffer as well, not just you. So if you're not going to ask for help for your own sake, ask for help for your baby's sake. And then also, on top of that, get breaks away. Freya is 9 months old, and in the last 9 months, there have only been 4 days where she has been away from me, like with her auntie for the day. I have only ever had 4 days away from her in the last 9 months. But also, me and James have only ever had one date thing in the last 9 months, and it was where his sister babysat her for a few hours so that me and James could go and watch a film at the cinema. one time in 9 months. Make sure that you're not losing yourself and losing each other, because you were together before your baby came along. And when your baby is older and they go move out of the house, you're back to having each other again. So you need to always make sure that you are celebrating each other and making time for each other. And that is advice that I should listen to, because as I said, in the last 9 months, we've only had one date time together. My 6th bit of advice, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, so please do not feel like I am saying this to be like rude or anything. Please try not to go on your phone so much. And I'm saying this because me and James always go on our phones. Before I go any further, I do just want to make it very clear that I am not trying to tell you what you can and can't do on your phones. Take my advice with a pinch of salt, do with it what you wish. I'm just giving my advice based on my own experience. If you're already back to work and you're working from home, or you're self-employed and you're working from home, you got to go on your phone, your laptop, your computer. You got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. If you're doing something important like writing down on your phone what times your baby has had a feed or a sleep, that is not what I'm going to be talking about. What I mean is when you're just scrolling social media and your baby is awake, waiting for you to interact and engage with them and teach them, and you're just there scrolling social media. That's what I'm trying to get at here, because this is something that me and James have been doing for the last 9 months, and as you will hear when I go into this a bit more, it absolutely breaks my heart. And I also feel like because we're so like technology all the time, all of us in the whole world, we just forget about everything else when we're so like engrossed in our phones. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't be on your phones at all. That is not what I'm saying, and you will hopefully get that when I explain what I mean now. When I'm with Freya, I find myself sat down with her, she's playing with her toys, and I'm sat down there with her, down to her level, but I'm just on my phone. I look up and she's looking at me, then looking at my phone, almost like she's going, oh, mum's finding something really interesting. What is it that she's finding so fascinating? And it absolutely breaks my heart, because she's just looking at me, waiting for attention, and all I'm doing is just sat there on my phone, scrolling Instagram, scrolling TikTok, and James does it as well. It makes me so sad that I'm so focused on scrolling on social media when I could just be doing that when she's having a nap for an hour, hour and a half. Why am I doing it when I'm supposed to be interacting and engaging with her, when I'm supposed to be teaching her? I'm literally just like this. I look up and she's just looking at me, and I will find myself saying sorry. I'm like, I'm so sorry, and I'll put my phone down and I'm like, oh, I love you, and I'm like, I can't believe that this poor baby is just sitting there looking at me, like waiting for my attention. It's such a horrible feeling. My 7th and final bit of advice would be set realistic plans for maternity leave. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I went through this whole phase of like, I'm gonna do move Mondays, and I'm gonna always go out for a walk, and then on Tuesdays it's gonna be treat Tuesday, and I'm gonna go to Starbucks and get like an iced coffee. I did that once. I was gonna go to the park one week, soft play the next week. I was gonna do pottery painting. I don't have any hobbies. I really wanted to get into pottery painting, even though I can't even draw a stick man. Never did it. And now I'm finding myself thinking, I'm going back to work in 2 months' time, and what have I got to show for the time off that I've had other than my baby? I feel like I've wasted so much of my maternity leave, and I feel like I could have done so much more. The next bit of advice is not from me, it's actually from James. James wanted to give his advice to all of you new mums. His first bit of advice was to get a car seat that turns to you. If you have a car that has ISOFIX, please get a car seat that turns to you. Unfortunately, I have never had a car that's new enough to even have ISOFIX. James's second bit of advice is frozen food. At our baby shower, one of the gifts we got was frozen food for like 2 weeks. So we were able to go on the website. I think the company was called Cook. We went onto the website, we had a certain amount gift voucher, and we were able to order frozen food got it delivered, put it in the freezer. So for 2 weeks, we didn't have to stress about dinner. That was like one of the best gifts that we had ever got. The only thing I would say is don't go with cook if you like big portions. And then his third and final bit of advice was to accept that your body will change. And the reason that he's saying that is because I'm really struggling with body image. I'm about to talk about weight, so if talking about weight really bothers you, please just skip ahead in the video. I am 5'2" in height, so I'm short. Like, I have to buy petite leggings, petite trousers, jeans, because otherwise they're too long for me. Like, the regular length are too long for me. Before pregnancy, I never weighed over 10 stone. I now weigh 11 stone, 12 pounds. That is the heaviest I've ever weighed. I have stretch marks that I didn't have during pregnancy. So this is postpartum. Like, I'm gaining weight postpartum. I have stretch marks around my sides. They're starting to come around the front. I've also got stretch marks on the backs of my thighs, like kind of right underneath my bum cheeks at the top of the thighs, if that makes sense. I have got rolls, like belly rolls, side rolls, back rolls. My boobs, I had a boob job in 2019. So I had a boob job like 6 years ago. It's like they're deflated, and I don't even think that's possible, but it looks like they're deflated. My belly bar, my belly button piercing, the hole's actually stretched, and you can see the bar, the actual bar bit, like through the skin of my belly. I've got that stuff on the backs of my legs. Is it called cellulite or something as well? But my issue is that I'm binge eating. So I have developed some kind of binge eating disorder postpartum. I honestly feel disgusted with my body. I feel gross. I don't feel attractive. Like, that's how I feel about myself. I've just bought new thongs. I'm a thong girly. High-waisted, because my normal ones would sit underneath my belly fat. Like, my belly fat would hang over. So now I've bought high-waisted ones. I'm like, I'm gonna have to buy a whole new wardrobe now. I've gone up a size in clothes as well. So I used to be a size 10 or a medium. Now I'm a size 12 or a large. And I know size 12 isn't big. I know a size large isn't big. But when you're 5'2", it is, respectfully, I hope nobody watching this is actually like 5'2" and a size 12 and now thinking I'm calling them fat. I know people that are a size 12, and to me, I don't even think they're fat, but it's me that I think is fat. The 7th question is, how was the transition to being a mum, and do you still feel like who you were before having a baby, or is it hard to find your identity after having a baby? Honestly, the transition to becoming a mum, especially in those first few months, that newborn stage, was easy peasy lemon squeezy. I loved the newborn stage. I could do that again and again. Between that 4-month to 7-month period, that time where I really struggled with my mental health, I also had this part of me where I was like, I'm not Chelsea anymore. I'm just a mum now. Do people only want to see me because they want to see Freya and not me? I just felt like all I was mum, 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 mum. When do I get to be Chelsea again? But now that I've gone past that 7-month-old point where my mental health has kind of gone back to normal-ish, because I'm not normal. But now that it's gone back to where it was before, I don't feel so much like that now. Questions 8, 9 and 10 are all about moving house. Interested in how it is living in a 1-bedroom flat with a baby. Update on moving. I know you were looking at trying to get a 2-bed. Have you got any plans on moving to a bigger place? We actually rent from the council or from a housing association. We are in a 1-bedroom ground floor flat, which was absolutely fine until our baby started crawling. This is where she plays. It's in the corner of our living room. But even though she will have like 4, 5 toys out to play with, usually 4, she will pull on the clothes area, which I caught just in time the other day because it nearly fell on her. She will eat our sliders that we keep by the back door for when we take our dog into the garden. She will eat them. She pulls on the straps on the high chair. She will do everything that she's not supposed to do. And I'm like, I cannot cope. I've even looked at like baby playpens. And then I'm like, where on earth am I going to put that? Like in the only space of the living room that I've got left. So we are bidding on 2-bedroom properties. but we're in band 3. So band 3 is like the one above the bottom. So you're in suitable accommodation, there's no urgent need for housing, and it means that it's going to take us a while to get a 2-bedroom property, unfortunately. We started bidding on 2 bedrooms in October. It's been 4 months, we still haven't got anywhere, and every week when we look to see what's available, what we can bid on, we always end up like position 5. And then the next week comes around, we see the next list of properties, we bid on what we want, same thing, position 5. What we are doing now whilst we wait is we've actually bought a new sofa. This is a sofa bed, and when you fold it out, it's like a super king size. We have got our bed up for sale, and once that's sold, that bedroom will then be able to become not just Freya's bedroom on her own, but also her playroom. So she'll be able to play in there as well, and that way I will know that she's got somewhere to play that's a safe space. Me and James will sleep in here on the sofa bed. We will keep our pillows and duvet in the storage cupboard in the hallway, and then where her play corner is now, we'll just get 2 chests of drawers, one for James's clothes and one for my clothes. I've answered 10 questions and I've still got 20 more questions to go, but I think we're looking at like a half-an-hour video already at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the video here. This is the Q&A part 1, and then I will do a Q&A part 2 where I answer the rest of the questions. That's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!